Hi everyone, this is a video on the benefits of international trade, and I think the title of this section should make it clear what we're about to talk about. There is a fair bit to cover here, but I actually think you know a bunch of it already. Let's see. Firstly, let's think of a consumer. It shouldn't be too hard because you are one, and let's just say you sort of look like this, ready to spend. How does a consumer like you benefit from international trade? Okay, I'm expecting these to be the themes of your responses: choice, low prices. And for firms and producers, what benefits might they get from international trade? This is a bit trickier, but we might have got responses along these lines, although I imagine the wording was a little bit different. So we're going to see that you probably knew something already. We're going to go a bit deeper and explain these concepts though. Okay, so when we open up to trade, there's more competition, and we know that increased competition forces prices downwards. That's nothing new. So why would consumers want that expensive Australian-made car, the Holden, when the imported car, I can't remember what that is so much cheaper? If the Australian car maker wants to stay in business, it needs to lower its prices too. So either way, the consumer is going to win. There's going to be lower prices. Now, related to this is that there are efficiency differences between countries. For example, Asian countries, they've got a real efficiency advantage in producing labor-intensive products, as they generally have low wages. And then the choice for consumers. Choice is huge. Without trade, we would be without many goods because we just don't have the resources for them here. So things like coffee, these are coffee beans. This feels like a huge part of the economy because there's coffee shops on every corner, it seems. But it's traditionally not grown here. We don't have the natural resources, the climate to support it really. So that's why we need trade. And think of how culture dependent the things we import are. So here we have French movies, which can't really be created in Australia. We can't create French movies. We don't have that culture, that feel, that quirkiness that they have. And K-pop, that's just a completely different thing, but it adds to the choice that we have, even if not everybody likes it. That's fine. We also don't have the expertise to make everything we want. So the trade gives us the tech that we can use. So to make things like AirPods, right? So we don't have that here. We get that from overseas. For producers, they gain access to resources. For example, oil. Oil has become essential to most production, yet it is not abundant in every country. Trade allows producers worldwide to access this vital resource. Pretty important. With trade, producers get to sell to larger markets. More potential customers equals more potential profits. And then the more they sell, the more they make. So the greater scale of production leads to savings. This is known as economies of scale. The more cheaply they can produce, the more competitive and profitable they remain. With access to larger markets does come with the threat of increased competition. So similar firms in other countries will also want to expand their reach and achieve those economies of scale that we mentioned before. So as you get bigger, you can create more. They want that as well. So therefore, if a local firm wants to compete on the world stage, they need to be efficient too. They need to lower the average cost of everything they sell. This is a huge incentive for more efficient production by firms. So we should see that. And as world trade increases, ideas and technology also flow faster than before. Think of how the proliferation of assembly lines has revolutionized factory production over the last 100 or so years. As the goods traveled around the world when trade opened up, so did our knowledge of technology and processes and ideas. Then we get to some of the societal benefits as well. With increased access to resources, efficient firms are able to specialize in what they do best and enhance technology. We now make more efficient use of our resources, so our scarce resources will no longer be wasted on inefficient production. Now, this is economics and we do diagrams, so we're going to see how some of these ideas can be examined through our diagram. We'll start with a regular microeconomic demand supply diagram for something that Australia produces a lot of, iron ore. Here's our equilibrium price and quantity if we do not trade. We would produce QD to be sold at PD. If we open up to trade though, we now have the world supply curve. So this is something new. The world supply curve is going to be there. Look where the price is. The price is higher than the domestic price. This is because Australia is efficient at producing iron ore. It doesn't cost us a lot to dig it up and get it onto boats compared to other countries. So this means we can sell at a relatively low price compared to the world price. Now, the world price is adopted if there is free trade. The domestic price ceases to function. So no iron ore gets sold at PD anymore. It all gets sold at P World. We'll look at that a little bit more in class to explain the reasoning behind that. So Australian iron ore producers, they know they can sell at this higher price, so they will try to. That's the law of supply. They're incentivized to produce more, so they're going to produce a level of Q2. And our domestic demand, the demand from Australians, is going to be less because, again, that's the law of demand. They're going to only demand Q1 because it's a higher price. What that means is that there's a surplus between Q1 and Q2. So the difference between Q1 and Q2 is going to be exports. This is what we send off overseas. We export because we can produce iron ore. That means digging it up more efficiently than other countries. Okay, now let's look at a different market. This is the market for refrigerators. Again, we first see equilibrium price and quantity, PD, QD, nothing new there. If we're not open to trade, with world trade, we now get the supply curve. This time it's different. This time it's below the domestic price because we aren't as efficient at producing things like refrigerators. That's not what we specialize in. So we can't produce it as efficiently as other countries where the world price is going to be this low price PW. So at this low price, only a relatively small number of domestic fridge makers can compete. So not all the ones that would have just been in our domestic market, they just can't compete with this low price. Some can, so we still get some making it. So they make domestic producers make Q1, and at the low price, the law of demand again kicks in. We want more. We rush off to Harvey Norman to demand their fridges at Q2. So the difference here between Q1 and Q2 is the imports. So we buy Q1 or 0 to Q1, we buy from Australian manufacturers, and then we import the rest Q1 to Q2 because of that lower world price. Right, we're going to go into a bit more depth in this in class, but this is the basics of it. Okay, thank you.